welcome to Twisted Dye Kitchen, my fiber journey. My name is Sherry, and I live in Kirkwood, Missouri, and I'm so glad you're here on this beautiful, glorious fall day. I'm in a different sitting arrangement today. I brought in all my plants from outside and had to, of course, rearrange and clean the sunroom, which is where I do a lot of my crafting. So I have my favorite drink. It's a coffee, and it says, "I drink coffee for your protection." Does that give you a clue? If you're a new viewer, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for your patience. I know it's been a very long time with all the travels that my husband and I did this past summer, as well as my part-time job working at a nursery. It took me a while to get back into the swing of things with that schedule, and just getting back to a regular sleep schedule, that was a challenge. But I'm so glad you're here. If you like this podcast and my other podcasts, please hit subscribe. If you're new, please sit back and enjoy. I've got so much to share with you, and I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. See you on the other side. Come on, we got a fiber journey to go to. We're going to start with knitting. As you can tell, I have my brand new sweater that I've been knitting on for quite a long time. It's from Caitlin Hunter. You're all familiar with this. I'm not gonna, if you've looked at my other podcasts, you'll know all the information. But this is my hand-dyed worsted weight yarn, which I'm very proud to have on and have in this sweater pattern. It was not anything that I thought would look good with it, with anything, to be quite truthful, because I was just kind of playing around. But it really shows up really well in this, and I'll get a little closer to the camera. Let me see if I can do this well. Not very scary. So here's all the detail of the coloring, and it's kind of like a orangish red color, more orange than red. But I really enjoy it, and it's very warm. It's a different sleeve. It's knit a little bit tighter, and then it has a bell. And then I added this design to the bottom of the sleeve just for a little bit more color. The other is that I have finished off my needles, yay, is the sweater from Spatrico. The yarn is from Skein of Mine, and I really enjoy this. I've worn it a couple of times, and I've gotten so many compliments. The only thing that was kind of a, I don't know if it was a backhanded compliment or what, but I was going to put the purple tassels, you remember, on at the end of each of these knit rows in the ribbing. But I had so many people asking me if I was knitting this for my granddaughter that I thought, well, I better not put the tassels on, because then they'll really think it's for her. So I chose not to, and I'm kind of glad I did. After wearing it a couple of times, I didn't really think it needed it. It has enough color. It's very bright pink, a very bright, vibrant green, some white and some golden colors, and it's a very lightweight yarn. So I'll probably put it away possibly for the not so cold days in the winter, or going into spring. I think it would be really pretty in the spring. So the next I'm going to go on to my needles, is we were in Iceland in September, end of September. I spent my birthday there. And what a rough place to spend your birthday. I know. I'm so fortunate and so blessed. I keep telling my husband we are so blessed to be able to do all this traveling and enjoy where we go and have fun together. And we just love to be outside. And since he's a nature photographer, we do a lot of visiting of countries more on the offbeat, not so much city shopping or city excursions, although I do want and will not miss the historical sites. So we have truly a blessed lifestyle, and I don't want to take that for granted. And I don't want you to think that, well, you can think whatever you want, but I just truly enjoy traveling with him, and we have so much fun. And I'm watching a bird go into my downspout from my gutter. Sorry, got to transgress there. So the pattern that I am making for my husband is called Zacapa, Z-A-C-A-P-A. I don't know if you can see that. And that's what the pattern looks. It's very high textured. It's by Baby Cocktails. And I like the fact that the yoke area for a man is very textured and very linear. So I really like that. And the other detail that I really like is on the side here. So on the side from the underarm to the ribbing section, there's a really nice detail going up the sides. And I really like that. I like that detail. So the yarn that I purchased when we were in Iceland is Lopi. So it's a lighter weight. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh. So I'm already on the rib section, which is not very impressive, but I'm really, really enjoying working with this. I got the Lopi because I wanted him to be able to wear it when he does his fall or winter excursions outside. And he now sees the benefit of having a really good wool sweater and how warm it keeps him. The number for this, let's see if I can find it. It's 1403-1305. That's the color. So I bought enough for him, and hopefully I'll have a little bit extra. Maybe I can knit up some mittens for myself or hand gloves. Hand warmers. So that's for my husband. He's very excited and he wants to know if it's ready yet. You know how that goes. So then while we were out there, I have had this sock on my needles for, gosh, I want to say a year or so. I am not a sock knitter. I would love to be a sock knitter, but it's very challenging and very detail orientated, and that gusset for the heel and the heel flap, and it just scares me. So I was watching Arnie and Carlos, and he had an episode talking about his simple sock pattern, knit from the toe up. So that's what I'm doing. So I just split for the heel, and of course I had to walk away because it makes me too nervous. But this is a Paton, P-A-T-O-N yarn from a big box store, and he really likes it. And it makes its own cool striped pattern, which looks like, you know, wow, you're really impressive. But so I'm gonna take my time, and make sure that I'm either by myself or that I can devote some time to work on the heel so that I can make sure he's very rough on things. So I have to make sure that there's no holes or no thin areas with this yarn because he'll just go right through it. So I'm experimenting and having him look at the yarns. Maybe he'll like them and take a little bit more care with them. So here's hoping. So it's not all about him. I have actually started, let's see, on the second trip that we were on a river cruise to Austria and Germany. I worked this simple cardigan pattern from MYPS, I think it's called. Let me check. MYPZ. And it's a crazy sweater, so just trust me, it's going to be extremely crazy, and that's so me. I figured, I want to go ahead and make sweaters that can either really make your jeans look super cool or very artistic. I love all the textured yarns. I love all the fluffy mohairs, but I want to make sure that what I make is a piece that I'm just going to be able to feel really good about it. So this is one of my crazy sweaters. This is the cardigan. And if you can see real close, the sleeves, let's see if I hold it still. The sleeves have fringe hanging from it. So it's you knit all the pieces. It's not knit in the round, so you have to sew all the pieces. So this is one of the front sides, and this is my back. And it's out of bulky mohair. I really like this bulky mohair because the regular mohair that we get seems to be itchy to me or for me on my skin. And so I was kind of a little apprehensive, but I'm really glad I did because this is so soft. And I thought with my hair coloring, I thought this darker gray would be nicer for my skin and for my hair color. So are you ready? Here's part of my sleeve. I'm so excited. So ta-da! And here's the fringe. Isn't that super cool? So I'm not going to leave it as long. In fact, the newer edge, I'm making them a little bit shorter so I don't waste a lot of my yarn. But here's the cuff, and you sew, and she's calling it mesh stitching. So if anybody knows what that means, can you put a comment below for me? I'm thinking that I could have just whip stitched it with, so she calls for not using the mohair and using more of a slicker thread possibly because you're already bulky with this, but I'm not sure what she means by mesh. So if you have any suggestions, like I said, I was going to go ahead and use my crochet hook and just kind of hook it together, but I'm not sure. And then the other thing is the sweater, the cardigan is, here's the front side, okay? It's just your basic stitches. What I was thinking of, and maybe you can make a comment also, I thought it'd be kind of cool. So this is the front side and this is the inside. And I thought it'd be kind of cool to do it a little different on the sleeves and show the back side because I think the texture look is pretty cool in comparison to this side. But I'm still in the finishing up on the sleeves. So if you have any thoughts about that, I'd love to hear what you think. I think it's either way, it's going to be off the chart as far as weirdness. Excuse me, not necessarily weird, because I don't want to diss the designer. I love her style. I love her use of color. And the fringe, as you know, and I have explained before, that's so me. So here are the two yarns that I'm putting together for the sleeve. And they're both bright, but one has this dark, almost a black, but it's a dark charcoal. And this is more the pastels. So I'm hoping that I'm going to have some leftover of this yarn and add it to my leftover yarn from Sweet Skein of mine and make a little sweater for my granddaughter for Easter. Wouldn't that be cool? She would look so cute. So I see how my brain, it just keeps going and going, and it's scary sometimes. So that, I believe, at this point, is all my knitting. So come with me. We're going to go to the spinning section. Come on. Here we go. I'm back. We're on to the spinning. So I was very happy to sell my Ashford traditional wheel. 3 wheels for me in the space that I have was just a little too much, and I really wanted someone who was new to spinning to take the advantage of this wheel. And it was such a good purchase for me, but as I said, I wanted to have somebody else enjoy that wheel. So I'm down to my Masha Craft, the Aura, and I'm looking at them right now as I speak. And I have my Lendrum from my Wool Mitten. Hi, Carrie. She's my sweetheart from the Mitten State. So I started spinning quite a bit when we got home, or in between our trips. And what I realized is, you know how when you getting crabby and you don't know what you're crabby about, because your life is wonderful, you're healthy, things are going well for you. I haven't won the lottery yet, so it's not that well. But I realized when I started playing with my textiles again, I missed spinning. So I got my wheel out. There was still some fiber that I had on there, so I wanted to make sure I got that cleared off. So this was from my hand spun, and it's glorious. Very different colors for me. And it's a butter yellow and a gray, and it has gold stellina in it. So I'll show you. It's considered a bulky, and this was considered one of my art yarns. And why I did this in the bulky is because I want to do some hats, and I want to have fun with taking my yarns and making something with them. I also purchased a pattern for some gnomes from Jen Edward, and they're just absolutely adorable. So what I want to do is use up my hand spun. I do use my hand spun in my rug hooking, so I don't feel like I'm not using it or utilizing the work that I've done, but I want to expand more, possibly make something for my grandson and my granddaughter, but we'll see. He's 12, and in my opinion, kind of a typical boy who doesn't really care about things and throws them and, loses them or doesn't remember where they put them. So, my handspun, I don't know about that one. So, I do have some of my art bats downstairs that I'm going to go ahead and continue working on. That way I can get myself re-familiar with some of the fibers that I have, and then possibly start making more art bats. I really miss that, and I purchased a used wide, I think it's the 72 tines per inch, so TPI, and that's meant for more chunkier art yarns. It is kind of an antique, so I have to be very careful and very selective with what I put on it. But here, if you follow me on Instagram, and it's still Twisted, TWISTED DYE Kitchen, KITCHEN, and you'll see me on Instagram, my posts, whether I'm working on my rug hooking, which is right straight through there, that I look outside my beautiful backyard with all the leaves that are turning right now. You can see my rug hooking, you can see my spinning, any type of other crafts that I'm doing, what other journeys, paths that I've taken throughout the month or throughout the weeks. So here I have some beautiful, beautiful fiber that I actually won from Goat Ranch Fiber, and I hope I said that correctly. But I was really very happy with this. The past couple of rovings that I bought were really, the colors were really packed in, and the fiber wasn't all that wonderful. It's great for spinning on a wheel, but when I sit and spin watching a baseball game or watching football with my husband, it tends to be too hard to work with on my spindles. And I'm looking for my other spindle to show you. Hold on. I'm going to try and see if I can find it. Hold on. Back. So, as I was explaining to you, this fiber is glorious to work with. And I separated and separated and separated, so I have lots and lots of bats. But this is one of my newer spindles, and I really like it. And each spindle has its own characteristics of how it likes to spin. The shaft is a little bit shorter than what I normally like, but it spins really well. I hope you can see that. There we go. Let's see if it's focusing. There. Got fuzz. So I'm spinning this, and I purchased this piece of ceramic at the Belleville, Illinois Art Fair, which is pre-COVID. Lohmeyer Sculptured Park in Kirkwood or Sunset Hill, Missouri, usually has the weekend of Mother's Day, so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They have this huge outdoor art fair. We have artists coming from everywhere in the country, and from pottery to photography to jewelry to any type of art mediums, and then different fiber artists. And then either a week or two after that weekend, Belleville, which is maybe a half hour, 45 minutes away from St. Louis, or from Sunset Hills, has probably 80 to 90% of the same artists. Well, this year, because of COVID, Lohmeyer didn't have it again. And Belleville had the artists just this past couple of weekends ago. So I purchased this real pretty, not so deep bowl with the anticipation of spinning. So my support spindles will spin in this. And just like any type of tool that you have, it tells you if it likes it or if it doesn't. So at this point, I'm still on the shelf with if I like it or not, or if I'm going to use it for that purpose. This is my Bob brand new spindle from Spanish Peacock. It is glorious. I love it. It's my orange, and it's got a little bit of green, and then we have this burgundy tip with the same burgundy shaft. I like the longer shaft so that I can take the time to build up right here, and then when I'm ready to put it on the cob, when it builds up here, then I put it on the cob. And I really, really love how this spins. It spins very fast. I used this bowl as a trial. It was okay. It still likes my little disc, my enamel disc. So I'm still experimenting. The only, I have not used my Allen Berry's spindles yet in this bowl, and I'm going to pull those out. This one, I did the same art bat. I experimented with a spindle, and this is the same spindle maker that made this spindle. The only difference is this support area does not have metal. This tip from the support is metal. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, there you go. There's a metal tip to this support. So I have not tried this on my new bowl. And I like this because it sits nice in my lap. So when I'm sitting watching TV, I can have it be supported. The little guy, I have to keep balancing it on my thigh when I'm watching a baseball game. So that's kind of a challenge to keep it supported. So that's it for my spinning right now. I've got a lot in my thought, or in my queue, mental queue, of what I want to do and what I want to keep spinning. So hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about the spindles, just put a comment below and I'll answer any questions that you have regarding support spindling. I kind of wanted to let you know I keep my spinning in the bags that I make, and I make them really wide for the purpose of putting in the spindles. And then inside, when you work with hand spinning, so spindles, whether it be a drop spindle or a support spindle, you have little nests that you build, and then you have your, whether it's your support or your drop spindle, or even a Turkish spindle. I keep my spindles separated with like a little divider, and that keeps the bats from getting tangled and possibly separated by the tips of the handles or the shafts. So it keeps everything nice and compact and nice and clean. That way I can make sure that I know that this is my support spindle bag, and I take it with me in the living room, or if my husband and I are going out excursion, doing excursions out in nature, I keep those together so that I can keep those safe when we do our little day trips. And then you can put your spindles, your bowls, in the area where your fiber is. And I put that one inside so that I can make sure that it keeps it safe. And then this one, the enamel copper one, I don't have to worry about it getting hurt. So I put that on the outside. And then I just zip it up and I'm ready to go. Back. So I just took a little picture of my rug hooking. I am finishing up the Harbor Master class, and that's put on by Deanne Fitzpatrick out of Nova Scotia. And it was a year-long process. So enjoyable. I learned so much about myself, my style, what I want to accomplish. It was more than I had thought that it would be, more thought-provoking. If you are a rug hooker and would really like to have a class that didn't make you feel inadequate, didn't make you feel like if I'm new or I'm a seasoned hooker and I know everything, this class is perfect for you. As I mentioned, she has so much packed in a month that I didn't feel overwhelmed. I didn't feel like I had to work on each month at a time. I could go forward if I wanted to. And there, every month she had like a little bonus section. So if you're interested, coming to the end of the year, I believe she may have the Harbor Master class again. But this is truly a class that if you have the time to invest in yourself and the time to invest in your craft of rug hooking, please check it out. I think you'll really enjoy it. She has other classes as well, but I think you'll get a whole lot more from this class. And I really believe in her philosophy of being a fiber artist, that you can do whatever you set your mind to do. And I really enjoy her program. So if you can, go check her out. Deanne Fitzpatrick, Hooking Rugs. Okay, so my next set, come on, I got a different journey, a different path that I took. Okay, here we go. So in previous episodes, I mentioned to you that I like to keep journals. And I have a knitting journal, I have a rug hooking journal, I have a quilting journal that when I went back and I started looking at it, it was like, wow, 1987, get out of here. I've been, quilting that long. So that was kind of cool to see who I took classes from and what I learned from the classes. But so every craft or hobby or venture that I went into, I create a journal so that I can keep notes, keep all my thoughts in one area. So I decided, why should I treat my trips any different? So I have 3 journals that I made, and these are all for the Traveler's Notebook, which I've had for, I want to say 4 or 5 years now, maybe. So this is my Alaska journal. This is the Austria, Germany journal. And this is our latest one, which is Iceland. And the neat thing that I tried this because I had 3 trips, one right after the other, basically. What I did, and what I saw from somebody else, one of the podcasts that I watch, she had a little cute printer that made little prints that have an adhesive backing. And she had it for different purposes, whether it be for her family or, different parties or things that she went to. And I thought, wouldn't that be a cool idea of taking the photographs that I took from our trips to put them into my journal so that I have a visual as well as the location, the temperature, whatever I wanted to put in there. So I'm going to show you real quick. This is the Alaska cover, and this was a piece of, I think it was a cover in one of the magazines, and I just really liked it. And I thought, well, I'm going to keep it. I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but I just liked all the graphics. So then here's some of the photos that I took. Some of our bears, some of our little cute sea otters, and here are some tickets for the whale watch that we did. Here is when we took a helicopter ride. I thought that was kind of fun. And I actually did it so it's all one photo, but I just made 3 tiers. This is from a coffee pouch, and I really liked the coffee. And then here's cutouts from a little newspaper from the town that we were in, and it showed all the different type of salmon that they had. I only thought there were a couple of different salmons, but when you get up there, you find out all different kinds. And then at the end of this journal, I went up to see my son in New York. The purpose was obviously to spend time with my son. I love New York. How could you not love New York? I wanted to spend some time with his girlfriend and him, see how they interact with each other, and they're really cute together. But the other thing is I wanted to spend time in my journal. So this is the hotel that I stayed at. It was in Greenwich Village, and it was considered Washington Square. And it was a very nice hotel. My son lives in Lower Manhattan. And so we spent quite a bit of quality time together. We walked in the evening. You basically walk everywhere. They had a place that had all these different ice creams, and that was so much fun. And then we went to the World Trade Center. I had not been there, and what a solemn experience. I took a picture that somebody put a rose in the name of someone. Just different areas. We actually went, when we left the World Trade Center, we went into a little bar that was basically for the first responders for that day. And it has now become a place where all first responders from all over the world have come and put their shields, or their, what do you call them? What do you call these? Badges. And I was like, okay, I have to find one from St. Louis. I look up from the bar area where we were sitting, and here I am right underneath St. Louis County. I was like, get out. Of course, I was down from Chicago, and here's a picture of my son with the fireman that I just really thanked him and appreciated what he did. And so that's kind of a little... And we went to the botanical garden, and there's a picture of my son and his girlfriend. And we had such a wonderful day. It was very hot. Then I'm going to show you real quick my Austria. I don't know if I showed you this. But I took this map out of I printed it from the internet, and then I have some cute little decals for the dates that we were gone. Here's our tickets to Austria, our first place where we went. We had a little coffee outside. And these are from some of the brochures. So I just kept them and placed them. And yes, I sit at night and I write about where we were, what we saw, how was the weather. So I did bring some of my stamps. And this is tickets from a place that we went. And this is a brochure that shows some of the sites that we went in. And it, throughout this whole book is just different locations of where we were, what we did. Have pictures of us, and it just really documented visually as well as the written portion of our trip. I didn't go in very much detail of the trips, but I'd need a whole nother journal just for that. But I just wanted to kind of breeze through the highlights. So this is my Iceland. Again, I took this off the internet, used my washi tapes, and got my journal ready for when we went on our trip. And the first visual that I saw was in the airport. And then lots and lots and lots of sheep. Oh my gosh, so much sheep. And over there, this is not a mistake. Their lighthouses are orange. I mean, it was just, I felt like I was supposed to be there. Everything that's orange I had to be there. So that is pretty much a visual of how we looked every day. It was cold, windy, rainy, snow. Here's a good idea of the wind and rain was going sideways. That's how hard it was blowing. And we were at one of our stops. And I'm telling you, it was so strong. We went and I thought, well, let's go inside and just have a coffee or a hot cocoa. Excuse me. We pulled up into a parking space and they were trying to put back one of the doors in the hinge and one of the plexiglass panels back into the door because the wind snapped it off the hinge. Yeah, that's how intense that was. But if you ever plan on going to Iceland, this is not a plug, I'm not being paid for it. There's on the internet, it's called Hey Iceland. And it was the coolest thing to do for you and your significant other, your spouse, your friend, to take some time and mark out what you wanted to see. If you wanted to do a full 14 days, I think we spent 14 or 15 days, as many days as we could to do the golden circle around the island, or you could just do the north, or you could just do the southern part of Iceland. And you tell them what you want, and the Hey Iceland picks out these working farms, kind of like an Airbnb, but they're actually farmers or herders or ranchers that have little guest rooms for you to stay, and then you have breakfast based on, your approval. A very simple breakfast so that you can go about your way. And it's all on a pad, like a tablet. Phenomenal. So simple, so easy. It gave you GPS markings of, okay, you just left this spot, so here's your next spot. How long will it take you? And then it takes you back to the place where you were staying or a new place. So it was very, very cool. So we had some days that were rainy. We had some days that were sunny. lots and lots of Icelandic sheep. So super cool. And then we were on a beach and I was like, what is that? And it was whale bones. So a whale had come up and basically died on the beach. It was sad, but it was really cool to see the size of these bones. And so every place that we went, I took the sign so I would know that this little town was named this. And don't ask me how to say it because some of these words were so long. But here's one of my little orange lighthouses. Isn't that so super cool? So, again, lots and lots of waterfalls in Iceland. And I ended up having to buy a hat. Yeah, shame on me. Because it got so cold and rainy when we were there that I was really cold. So that kind of gives you an idea of some of the areas that my husband and I, and how we like to travel. Here's a real cute picture of us that somebody helped take. There's one of the falls in the background. And this, I believe, was a national park. So, I don't want to bore you with Iceland, but I do have some pictures from that trip that's going to be throughout this, and then at the end I'll add more of the photos. I'm so glad that I had a nice quiet day, that I could spend time with you. Next year, I think I'm going to go ahead and change the format a little bit. Just let me know if you like the formatting of, having it 3 or 4 different sections, whether it's knitting or rug hooking or spinning. If you'd like to have it separated more and just be interested in what you are interested in, I'm still up in the air of how I want to handle my next year's podcasting. But if you have any comments or suggestions, let me know. I'm so happy that you're here with me. I really am. It warms my heart to talk with you and share my passions and experiences. Maybe you can come with me on some of my trips. I take these photos, I take these videos for you to experience some of the places that I've been in. And I hope my intentions are good. My intentions are thinking of you, wanting to take you along with me, want you to experience the same thing I'm experiencing. I hope this brings you joy. And as always, enjoy. Bye-bye.